My name is Nancy Brewington. I'm the owner of Hands in Harmony Wellness Company, and I am excited to be a part of this program along with Health Texas to present diabetes and stress management. During this time, we're going to go ahead and discuss what diabetes is, and then also discuss how the impact of stress has on your diabetes. For some people, if you're diabetic, understanding this information may help you to change your numbers and also to help improve your lifestyle. And for those of you who are on borderline or who know someone, hopefully this information will help them as well. Diabetes is a very complex and chronic condition that affects millions of individuals worldwide. And particularly San Antonio area, we do have a very large number of diabetics that lives here. And it's about lifestyle changes. And so being able to understand the multifaceted approaches that can go beyond medications, we hope that you could gain some information during this presentation. And it also, a lot of people don't think about it, but incorporating techniques and strategies to help manage your stress will also help you manage your diabetes as well. And so including this in your quote unquote care plan will definitely help you in the long run. So let's get started. During this time in the agenda, we're going to discuss diabetes, and so you get a better understanding of what diabetes is. And then we're going to talk about stress and your health. And then we're going to talk about goal settings and how, give you information about healthy eating and physical activities. And then we're going to also have a meditation. So what is diabetes? Diabetes is a chronic health condition that affects how your body turns food into energy. And your body breaks down most of the food that you eat into sugar or glucose. So I may use those terms interchangeably and releases it into your bloodstream. Now let's just understand a little bit basic. When you eat foods, if it's foods with carbohydrates or any types of food, your body's going to break it down. And it's going to break it down into the simplest form, which is glucose or sugar. And that is then released into your blood system. But with diabetes, your body does not make enough insulin, which helps transport the sugar or glucose into your cells. Understand that your cells, your muscle cells, your brains, your nervous system, all types of cells within your body needs glucose for energy and also to function on a regular basis. And insulin helps to transport that into the cells so that it's not running free within the bloodstream. And so when you don't have enough insulin, your cell stops responding to the or insulin, and you're not getting the energy or the glucose into the cells. This video is going to go ahead and explain it just a little bit more for you so you get a better understanding of it.
Your body uses glucose for energy. Glucose metabolism requires insulin, a hormone produced by your pancreas. Here's how normal glucose metabolism works and what happens when you have diabetes, a disease where your body either can't produce enough insulin or it can't use insulin properly. The food you eat consists of three basic nutrients: carbohydrates, protein, and fat. During digestion, chemicals in your stomach break down carbohydrates into glucose, which is absorbed into your bloodstream. Your pancreas responds to the glucose by releasing insulin. Insulin is responsible for allowing glucose into your body's cells. When the glucose enters your cells, the amount of glucose in your bloodstream falls. If you have type 1 diabetes, your pancreas doesn't secrete insulin, which causes a buildup of glucose in your bloodstream. Without insulin, the glucose can't get into your cells. If you have type 2 diabetes, your pancreas secretes less insulin than your body requires because your body is resistant to its effect. With both types of diabetes, glucose cannot be used for energy, and it builds up in your bloodstream, causing potentially serious health complications.
Just to recap, understanding that when you any types of food that you eat, especially carbohydrates, that when you eat those carbohydrates, your body has enzymes that breaks that down into glucose. And glucose is used by your cells for energy. And insulin is used as it's secreted by the pancreas. It helps to transport that glucose into your individual cells. If you don't have enough insulin in your body will not get the energy that it needs from the glucose. So let's go. So understanding if you have any of these types of symptoms, you may be diagnosed from your doctor that you may have diabetes or pre-diabetic. Urinating a lot, if you have any of these symptoms. One of the reasons why people may urinate a lot, if you think about it, the body really has a function or a balancing function of putting the body into homeostasis. And the body regulates the amount of sugar that it should have within the blood system. And when it realizes this is too much glucose in the bloodstream, we talk about in the bloodstream, then the body tries to lowers that amount by urinating. So you might find yourself urinating a lot, especially at night. You may also find yourself being very thirsty. Again, in response to when you urinate a lot, you're going to be dehydrated and you're going to need you're going to need water to drink. So you may find yourself with excess thirst and then also hungry too as well. Again, your body needs energy, especially the nervous system. It needs energy and also to keep you from having brain fog. And so when your body feels it's not getting enough glucose for the nervous system, particularly in the brain, then it's gonna regulate your body or give you that desire you need to eat. And so, and especially when people who are having artificial sugars, you're not giving your body the proper amount of glucose with these artificial sugars, and you're thinking you're doing the right thing, but the body's going to make you hungry and thirsty a lot more. And they have found through studies that when people are using a lot of these artificial sweeteners and everything, that they're winding up drinking more of these diabetic sugar-free Cokes and teas and things like that. Try it out yourself. If you find that you're drinking a lot more and you're still thirsty, they're not really helping you at all. And another thing is too, you might find a tingling in your hands and your extremities and your feet. And that is only because the pH level of high blood sugars is very acidic and it wears the capillaries that's found in your fingers and your toes. It causes those to deteriorate. And so you're going to have some tingling in those and numbness. And you're also going to find you're having dry skin. These are just all some of the complications, as well as more infections than usual, because it does impact your immune system as well. And then also blurry vision. So we're going to talk about the different types of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes, And that means that your pancreas is not producing any insulin or is making very little insulin. We usually call this juvenile diabetes, and it's autoimmune disease. But now we're finding out that there are a lot of young children, young adults, 15 and younger, are now being diagnosed with diabetes, but it is not type 1 diabetes. It is now type 2 diabetes that a lot of these young children are now being diagnosed with. And that is particularly because of the fact that of the diets that they're having. There's a lot more sugars in their foods, especially a lot of foods, preservatives and takeout foods has a lot of sugars and sweeteners added to it. And the young body does not produce enough insulin to go ahead and transport the glucose into the cells, and especially with a lot of children not having a lot of outdoor activities and spending more time at home on computers. So they're not really burning up the glucose that's running through their system. So they're winding up having type 2 diabetes. Now, type 2 diabetes used to be for adults, we used to call old age diabetes. And that is when your body is not making enough insulin or it gets a sensitivity to the insulin. And that usually happens in senior adults. But like I mentioned earlier, a lot of young children and younger people are also getting type 2 diabetes. Now, there's also gestational diabetes, and this is a type of diabetes that occurs to women during pregnancy. They do not have to have diabetes themselves, they're not diabetic themselves, but sometimes due to hormonal changes in their bodies, they do develop gestational diabetes. So will they get diabetes later on in life? That's going to be all depending on their lifestyles from that point on. So, what are your blood sugar levels and what does it mean? Well, HbA1c, which means hemoglobin A1c, measures the average blood sugar levels over the last 2 to 3 months. So if you've been at a party and you're, like during the summertime, and you go to the doctor 3 months later and he says you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, and you're kind of like, but wait a minute, doc, I've been doing really good. And then you think about it, 3 months ago, I was really going out there having a good time, eating cakes and candy, on vacation and everything else. And even now during the holiday seasons, you're gonna also, if you was to go ahead and get your blood sugars checked by March, you may find that your blood sugar levels may be a little bit higher depending on how many holiday parties you're going to. So if your A1C is 5.7 or below, that is the normal range. Anything between 5.7 to 6.4 indicates that you're pre-diabetic, and anything higher than that means that you're full-blown and diabetic. Usually, the doctors they find out that you're pre-diabetic, they may give you some medications. Usually the common one is metformin to help regulate your sugars and help your body take care of that high blood glucose levels. And for some people it works and sometimes it does not. But we're going to talk about lifestyle changes too to help you. And also there's another test, and that's usually a fasting blood sugar levels. And they usually do that. And that's going to tell you your real right now time of what your blood sugars are. Anything 99 or lower is a normal range. 100 to 125 means that you're pre-diabetic, or 126 means that you're full-blown diabetes. But they'll use both the A1C and also your fasted blood sugars to see where you're at. Let's talk about some of the complications that may occur if you're diabetic. Heart disease, kidney disease, blindness, and nerve damage. And if you think about it, when I talked about the capillaries, some of the symptoms, kidney disease, your kidneys are being taxed with a lot of urination, and also the nephrons, the capillaries or the blood vessels within the kidneys are very small, and then if you have very high blood sugars running through it, it does cause damage to your kidneys. And also blindness, again, because of the fact that the capillaries in your eyes are very small, and that could cause problems in the long run, which leads to blindness. And I can't stress enough the nerve damage that can happen, especially to the lower limbs. When you're having the capillaries and the nerve endings in your extremities, you have to be very careful. For those of you who are diabetic and you have your doctor telling you check your feet regularly, I cannot stress myself how important that is. I recall I had a patient one time working as a nurse, and it was during the winter time. She was wearing socks a lot, and her blood sugars was, and she admitted that her blood sugars ran very high, but for her, she would just take her insulin. She didn't really change her eating habits or her lifestyle at all, but she just take her insulin. And she bumped her toe. 3 days later, as she was just looking at her feet and didn't even realize 3 days later after she bumped it, her toe, big toe, was black. She came to the hospital and wound up having to get that toe amputated. It can happen just that quickly. Nerve damage can start at the feet, and then you see some people with diabetes losing their limbs and even, having the lower limbs having to be amputated. This is a disease you do not want to take lightly. You want to be very serious about it and do what you can to avoid any of these complications. Well, let's talk about stress and your health. A lot of times I like to ask people, are you managing your stress, or is your stress managing you? Sometimes we're very calm and collected, but very stressful on the inside. And if you have diabetes and some other problems that's going on, even though you're calm and collected, inside your body is just probably going into chaotic haywire and problems. Some of the risk factors is chronic stress is identified as one of the highest risk factors for development of type 2 diabetes. Prior to recent studies, it used to be thought that if you ate a lot of sugar and everything else, and that's what people used to call it the sugar disease. But now they're finding out that it is an inflammatory disease as well. So, which means that if your body is in a lot of stress, it has a lot of inflammation and a lot of the responses that happens to that, it decreases the body's ability to create and create insulin, which is very important to help and break down the sugars and transport it into your cells. Also, when you're high stress, you create a lot of cortisol, which is also a sugar in the body. So also stress can cause your blood sugar fluctuates, which means that there's hormonal changes, and that impacts your blood sugar levels too as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about understanding stress, what it is, and then how it impacts your body and diabetes. Well, let's talk about the physiological responses to stress. We talked about this in previous times, but I want to stress and talk about this a little bit more. When you're stressed, you develop, your body changes hormones, and it causes a release of cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol is, again, very high as sugar. It kind of helps your body create energy to help you to move. And adrenaline is produced by the kidneys as well. And then also when you're in stress, you have the fight or flight response. And this is what happens when your body perceives it's preparing for any potential threat. And when that happens, it causes your hormones to release cortisol, creating adrenaline. And then when that happens, your blood pressure goes high, your heart rate also gets very fast. Again, and that happens, what that does, it increases energy into the muscles, because now, and it's stressful, this goes back to the basic physiological response in our bodies when anything would happen, any perceived threat, people ran or they defended themselves. And in order to do those things, you need energy. And in order to go ahead and have energy, your body's going to go ahead and increase cortisol. And it's going to go ahead adrenaline. And then it's going to go ahead and increase the heart rate and the blood rate in order to get the glucose into the cells. So either you're going to fight or you're going to run. But that is just the basic response the body does. And then also it causes muscle tension, and which contributing to a lot of physical discomforts. If you think about it, if you're going to run, you want your muscles to be ready to move and not being flaccid at all. And some of the long-term effects of chronic stress, and this is when it's happening every day, every day, every day. And then after a while, your body's just going to respond sometimes when you might not be at work where it's very stressful, but sometimes just the perceived thought of what's going on at work, or did you have to go back to work on Monday? Your body's going to respond in kind as if you're at work under those stressful conditions. And so what happens because of that, you're going to find yourself with your immune system is going to be very weak, and you're going to make you more susceptible to illnesses. And if you get more than 5 colds in a year and you're out sick, you're stressed, okay? And so that goes back to the question, always ask yourself this: am I managing my stress, or is my stress managing you? If you're finding yourself out sick a lot, having problems with heart disease and hypertension, digestive problems, guess what? Your stress is managing you. And then what happens too when under stressful conditions, it also impacts your blood glucose levels. Because of cortisol, it signals the liver to release stored glucose into the bloodstream. And what happens if the body's not using it, it stores it. But if it has too much of it being stored, it doesn't know what else to do with it. But cortisol signals the liver during stressful conditions to release stored glucose into the blood system, which then again causes your blood sugars to be increased. And then what happens when you have a prolonged stress, your body's gonna not produce as much insulin as it used to, and it's gonna gain a sensitivity to it. It's just saying, you know what, this is just too much. You keep putting this insulin, and it becomes insulin resistant. Your cells become insulin resistant, which means insulin is not able to help transport the glucose into your cells. And then with that as well, you're going to have your blood sugars being elevated very high all the time, and you're going to have a hard time controlling it. And as a result of that, all of this equals developing type 2 diabetes. So we're going to talk a little bit about things that you could do to manage your stress. As I mentioned earlier, when you're at home and you feel that your job is very stressful, and just thinking about it can cause you to be getting stressed when you're at home away from the work environment. Your body is going to respond to whatever thoughts that you put into it. So if you're chronic stress and you're saying, I got to go to work tomorrow, and your body's going to perceive that threat. Again, who's managing your stress, you or your body? So you're going to have you may have these panicky thoughts and everything else. So guess what? It's Sunday. Monday is 24 hours away. So whenever you find yourself in having these problems or these thoughts about work or stress or doing a presentation, talk to yourself. Challenge those, what we call those panicky thoughts, and try to see what is it that's causing me to feel this way? Challenge it. And if you say there's nothing, you're going to do that presentation very well because you prepared for it. It's Monday. There's nothing, there's no threat right now because you're not even at work. So challenge those panicky thoughts. And then when you have it, don't wait till you go to bed and have to sleep on it and those thoughts come again. Act on it now. Do not hide those thoughts. React now. And think about it and breathe. Take a nice deep breath. Be in the now, the present moment. Present moment is no threat. Right now, just breathe. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. And create a mantra. And a mantra is nothing more than adding a positive thought into a situation. And there's been studies that have shown that when you recite something positive, your nervous system and brain has nothing else to do but to react to that positive thought. If you're thinking panic, if you're thinking danger, your body's going to respond to that danger. But if you're thinking positive, you're thinking present moment where there's no threats, your body is going to respond to that. So whatever mantras that you have, you can recite it and you can read it and you can believe it. And that will help manage your stress. Move, get up, walk around. That helps lowers your stress levels as well. And meditate. Meditation, if you do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it just helps relax your body and it actually changes your nervous system. There's enough studies that shows that meditation does change your body's response to stimuli. And again, I can't say enough. Move around. There's some lifestyle modifications we're going to talk about in the next couple of slides that you can do. And one of them is healthy eating. I'm sorry, a lot of people, when you say healthy eating, their eyes roll in the back of their heads and they kind of think about yucky cardboard tasting foods. And they don't want to do it. I've had clients that they're so addicted to certain foods, and I would tell them, it's okay to eat that food, but in moderation. But make sure that instead of eating a whole bucket of Church's chicken, which has enough grease in it that's not very healthy for you, eat maybe one small piece and then eat some vegetables. Eat something that's going to be healthy. Treat yourself. It's okay to treat yourself, but do it all in moderation. Having a nutritious diet is more than something that's going to taste good. It's something that's going to help give your body the nutrients that it needs to help you to survive and to thrive. Regular exercise is a very good point because you don't move, your body was made to move. Sorry, it was made to move. It was not made to just stay still. So physical activities is very key to helping improve your insulin sensitivities and reducing the risk of any complications related to diabetes. And some of the other things that you want to do, and I tell this to a lot of people who may be considered pre-diabetic, and I've had clients that came in and they said, the doctor says I'm pre-diabetic, eat healthy. And I said, do you know what that means? And they'll roll their eyes again and say, no, I'm just going to eat this and eat that and go on this diet and go on that diet. And I'm like, no, let's kind of work on that a little bit. But then at the same time, I also talk to them about monitoring their blood sugars because you don't know what your body's response is to certain foods. You do not know what your body's response is to certain stress levels. and how you're feeling at any given moment. So if you were to go ahead and just periodically just monitor your blood sugars to see how your body's responding under certain conditions, then that way you're going to be able to effectively manage and control your condition. And also setting goals. We think about setting goals when it comes to getting a new job or going to school and said, I am going to go to school when I'm in my 40s and I want to get this degree. We set those type of goals. But you can also set goals on your lifestyle changes and modifications. So what it is you want to do. Make sure that your goals are what we call SMART, measurable, specific, and time-bound. So let's say, for instance, it's the holidays and we want to set a goal for lowering your blood sugars. So what is that going to take? Okay. Is it going to take you changing your eating habits during the holiday? Sure. So set a goal so that during the holiday season, you're just going to go ahead to maybe, if you're going to go to a party, a Christmas party or New Year's party, you're going to go there full. You're going to eat before you get there. And so that when you get there, you don't have to be tempted to eat all the delicious foods or all the foods that's there. So set a goal like that. And then also at the same time, I've learned something. You cannot mingle and socialize and network at a party while eating. How funny is that? So if you're going to a party and it's a networking party, take one small dish, carry it with you, and have very little on that dish because you can't talk and stuff your face at the same time. So, just make it easy for you, okay? It's not very difficult. And if you need help, we're going to be giving you some sheets on where you can set goals on what you want to do and how you want to achieve it as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about your diet and what you should eat. Carbohydrate counting. Carbohydrates does have a direct impact on your blood glucose because carbohydrates, once it's broken down, it is broken down into sugars. So what you want to do is watch the amount of carbohydrates that you eat, and then also make healthy choices on it. Whole grain. A lot of people, they just take carbohydrates totally out of their diet. And that's not the right way to do it. For a short period of time, it does work very well and people do get results, particularly for what they call the Atkins diet. But it should be for a short period of time and nothing that you're doing for a lifetime. A lot of people is trying to do that and make that where they don't eat any carbohydrates. That is not the right answer. It's not the right thing. If you're going to do it, just do it for a short period of time. It does lead to complications. But you could get different types of fruits and vegetables that what we call having a very long breakdown process, which means it does not cause your blood sugars to spike very high. And they take a very long time for your body to digest it. And when it takes your body a long time to digest it and break it down into sugars, that means that you don't have very high blood sugars when you're eating foods that's high in whole grain and legumes. So that is a very good habit to take. You can we're going to have some different food listings that we're going to have to give to you as a part of this presentation to kind of give you a listing of what some of those foods are. You could be able to add that to your daily diet. And please, people, just to let you know that eating healthy is far from being horrible and tasteless. You could put a lot of foods with spices and herbs and makes it the most delicious thing ever. Just got to use your imagination. Eating a balanced meal, which means don't eat a whole bunch of carbohydrates with no protein and an amount of fat that you're going to have. And that includes not only the fat that you have, it's also going to include how much butter, how much grease that you're cooking with. That all has an impact on it. So just make it a balanced meal. And if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, see what your blood sugars and how your blood sugars responds to each thing. And that's why I said periodically keep a diet and see how that works. And if you find that certain foods and the way you cook foods a certain way, and if you're stressed and are sick and you check your blood sugars and it's high, then you need to make some adjustments. It's an experiment. Experiment with your body. Do not experiment what happens to other people. What happens to other people's body is their body and not yours. So, just talking about the healthy fats, and this has just a listing of the different foods that you could try to eat on a regular basis. And again, we say limit added sugars. You don't have to add sugar. Every commercial product that you get, that you go buy, or canned goods, or prepackaged foods, look at the sugars. A lot of companies, they add a lot of sugars to their products just to get you to want to take it a lot more and eat and become addicted to it. So that's why it's always a good thing to try to eat from home and limit the amount of times you go out to eat, because you don't know exactly what's in those foods. And if you do have to go out to eat, a lot of restaurants and fast food places, they will tell you what they have available and that's healthy. And then I'll also go ahead and have a listing of what the carbohydrates and the nutrients that's in their products. So get that information too as well. Again, set your goals. And then when you put your goal setting, you can go ahead and put that all a part of what you're going to eat on a regular basis. And exercise. If you're diabetic, becoming active makes your body more sensitive, which makes it want to absorb insulin. And that's what you want to help. It makes it sensitive to absorbing if you're exercising on a regular basis. And you should set a goal for at least 150 minutes per week. That is, let's say, for instance, is 7 days in a week. You could do exercise for 5 days a week for 30 minutes. And you could do a walking for 30 minutes. Do something. And I did a presentation talking about healthy eating and exercise to some bus drivers. And they would give me the reason that they could not exercise on a regular basis because they had to be at work at 2, 3 o'clock. And they didn't get off, after they finished dropping off the kids and going back home, it's 3 o'clock in that following morning, afternoon. But I asked them, what do they do from 9 o'clock when they finish dropping off the children from school to the time they got to pick them up again? We almost got maybe 3 to 4 hours, and most of them do nothing. Within those 4 hours, you could go to the gym. You could go to Walmart and walk the whole perimeter of Walmart for 30 minutes and get some exercise in. You can make it very simple. And you're just moving, that's all. So some of the other techniques that you could do as far as lifestyle, stress reduction techniques. Exercising regularly helps to lower your stress levels, as well as helps with your waistline as well. Practice meditation and mindfulness. Mindfulness really allows you to be at the present moment. It allows you to understand what, if there's anything that's causing you to be panicked or anxious, it allows you to be mindful of those situations and being able to conquer it. Quit binging. I mean, if you're finding out that you binge eat, you want to sit in front of it. We see those commercials where people they start realizing that they're binge eating. You don't need an app to tell you that. If you're sitting in front of the TV and you got a whole bag of chips and you're eating it, or if you find that you kind of stressed and you going to Walmart or the store and you're buying all the candies that's right in front of the counter, the cashier, you're binging. Find some time to relax. Most importantly, if you find yourself stressed, talk to someone. It's no problem about doing that. Find somebody to talk to. Okay, so we're going to take a few minutes and get ready to do our meditation. So what I would like for you to do during this time frame, I want you to get yourself in a very nice, comfortable position. If you're sitting in a chair, I want you to sit in the chair with your back rested against the back of the chair. I want you to uncross your feet. Place your feet gently on the floor. And then I want you to take a nice deep breath in and exhale real nice and slow. Inhale and exhale. If you're having family members that's going to be coming in, just let them know you're going to be doing a little bit of a meditation for the next 10 minutes. And if they'll just allow you that 10 minutes, you would appreciate it very much. Or you could even invite them in to join. You could either close your eyes or have a nice gaze down, or if you want to watch this video while we go through this meditation. What I want you to do right now is take a nice deep breath in. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale. Exhale. With each breath, I want you to feel your body relaxing more and more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale peace and tranquility. Exhale worry and stress. Take your time. This is your time right now. This is for you. Inhale. Exhale. Now as you inhaling and finding yourself relaxing with each breath, I want you to find out how your body's responding. As you're inhaling, feel the scalp. How does it feel? You notice any tension in your scalp? Just notice it and just be aware of it. And then exhale gently. As you move through each body part, your face, to your chin, to your neck, to your shoulders. Just be aware of the sensations that you're having in each area. You do not have to do anything. Just be aware of it. Inhale and exhale. As you move gently down the arms, your fingers, your chest, noticing your chest rise and fall with each breath. And if you find yourself being distracted with a fleeting thought, that's okay. Just bring yourself back to the present moment and start focusing on your breath. As you inhale gently and exhaling. As we move now to your thighs, your calves, your ankles, and your feet. Just be aware of any sensations that's going on in those areas. Just be aware, feeling the sensations. And with each breath, I want you to just feel the warmth that's surrounding you right now. The warmth of tranquility, of harmony, of balance, and peace. Now I want you to say after me, I am well. And I am at peace with myself. Say it again. I am well, and I am at peace with myself. With each breath, inhale and exhale. Just repeat that mantra. I am well. I am at peace with myself. Be aware of any sensations that you're feeling as you're having these thoughts of well-being and of peace with yourself. Inhaling and exhaling gently. Feeling the warmth radiating throughout your body. Feeling wholeness within yourself. Feeling at peace with yourself. You may find yourself smiling at this moment. It is okay. You have the ability to be at peace with yourself, for your body to be at peace. As we get ready to conclude this meditation, I hope you found your peaceful place. Take a nice deep breath in, exhale, wiggle your toes, fingers. You can open your eyes when you're ready. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Well, I hope you enjoyed that meditation. Of course, you're not going to be able to tell me how you're feeling right now, but if you feel a difference, know that meditation does help. And you could try this yourself. You can listen to this video all the time, as many times as you want, to go ahead and put yourself in a nice, peaceful place. And you can also create your own mantra that works for you. Whichever one it is, just allow that and use that in your practice every day. But in conclusion, as we get ready to end this presentation, stress and diabetes are so closely interconnected. Through studies and research has found that stress impacts so much on what's going on with your body and how your body responds to that stress. And some people, they get diabetes. And then some people that diabetes is really, really bad because of the stress. Whereas in other people, it is not. But that doesn't mean that there's anything different from you to them. It just means this is your situation. And so hopefully from the things that we talked about during this presentation can help you to learn how you can manage your stress a little bit more and how important it is to take care of your stress when it talks about your diabetes and actually implementing a plan of care for you. You have so many avenues within your insurance with Health Texas, with the San Antonio School District, whichever office that you work in, you have the resources to help you. Do not stick your head in the sand and say it's going to just pass. It is not going to pass. But get the help that you need, and it's there for you. I hope you got something out of this presentation. But if you want, you can also go to our website, Hands in Harmony Wellness. And if you want, you can also send me an email if you have any questions or anything like that. One of the things you're going to be getting as a part of this presentation, some handouts on diets that you could try during the holiday season and some goal setting, and also just a lot of other tools that you can use along your journey towards wellness. And thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your wellness journey. Have a wonderful day, and you take care of yourselves.